All right, how do we get two buttons side by side using Elementor? That's what I'm going to show you in this video. And I want to tell you that there are two different ways. Well, there's lots of different ways you could do this. But using just Elementor, there is an old way when you're still using columns, and there's a new way where you're using containers. I have a previous video showing how to do this with columns, but this video is going to show you how to do it with containers. Containers are the most recent addition to Elementor, replacing columns. So I'm going to show you how to do it with containers. If you're still using columns, go back into my channel and find the video that is previously dated talking about how to do two buttons. But I'm going to show you how to do this right here with columns. So the first thing that you need to do is make sure that flexbox container is active. So if you go into Elementor, into settings, and then into features right here, scroll down, and you'll want to turn on flexbox containers to active. Set it to active, scroll all the way down, click Save Changes. Then, inside of WordPress, when you click Edit with Elementor, it's going to bring up the Elementor canvas, and you'll have the container option. If you don't already have that, you'll go back, do those steps I just outlined, and now you have the container option. This is real straightforward, how to create two buttons side by side using the container option. I'm going to click plus, and you'll see I have the option for a grid or flexbox. Now, if you don't have the option for grid, it's because right here, this grid container option is set to inactive. So set that to active if you want to mess around with grids. I'm not going to go into that right here. Grids are really fun, but let's go into the flexbox. Now, you'll see that I have the option to have the row go down or the column go side by side. You want the flow, actually it's not even row, it's the flow to go down, so you stack element on top of element on top of element, or side by side, so you stack elements side by side by side by side. We're going to do to the right. We're going to do elements the direction to the right. So now we go into our elements. We will drag a button. Let's see. So we have our button added here. We're going to add another button. And now they're side by side. Why are they side by side? Well, because we have our direction set to right. Now if I go down vertical, you'll see that it stacks them. So now I'm going to go right, and it shows them right here side by side. Now you say, okay, well I want them in the middle. Well, right here you can justify content in the middle. And if you say, okay, well that's great, but I want to have something where I stack, like, let's just do, you know what, let's recreate this right here. So, okay, we want two columns. So we're going to create a new column. We'll do our new section, new container. We'll do columns, and then we'll drag our buttons down here, and then let's add, we'll delete this section. Let's add our text. Add our text here. We'll add our body right here. So let's look right here. And we got our courses, and then we've got our FAQs over here. FAQ. Or let's just do toggle. Accordion. We'll do that. There we go. Okay, so now how do I get these side by side? Because if I go right here and I do this, then it puts everything side by side. That's not what I want. But if I go vertical, it's not side by side. This is where you can add another container inside of the container. So now I've added my container. I'll drag and drop my two buttons, right? And what I'll do is I'll go in, and I'm leaving this one as vertical, but I'm going to go into this inner container and I'm going to do right. And so you're saying, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking to do. Great. But you want to get rid of this extra padding around here. Well, this is default. Elementor brings in some container padding. So you click on the container settings, go to advanced, padding, and then set to 0. And now it's lined up to the left-hand side here of this, all the content in this larger container, this parent container. You say, okay, well, I want the buttons to be gapped farther or shorter. Click on the container settings for the buttons, go into layout, go down to gaps, and you can say 50, or you can say 10, or you can say 5, or you can say 100. So what if you want the buttons to be one here and one all the way over here? Well, you've got this justify content section. Again, we are inside the button container. And you can say I want everything to the left, or I want everything in the center, or I want everything to the right, or I want there to be space between. And so now it's all the way to the left, all the way to the right. Oh, I want space around, or I want spaced evenly. So now there's the same amount of space here, 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 and here. So you can experiment with those to get the look that you're wanting. But this is how you achieve a side-by-side button using containers. And you can add more containers in here. So, I mean, you could add as many as you want. That's why they added the containers. So let's say you want a container here, and then you want side-by-side buttons. Let's see. I could put it, delete, click on container, and then container. So now we've got a container within a container. We can add these guys up in here. So now there's that. And now, if we wanted to add text within, and we wanted this to be side by side, we could drag this to the other side here. And now we can get the same look with side by side, right? Then we'll add 0 padding here, so it's flush. We'll add 0 padding here. And then if you say, well, I want these to be at the bottom. Well, now you can go back into your parent container settings and you can say, I want everything at the bottom. And so it moves this container down to the bottom. So you can get creative with the container settings inside of Layout. But there you go. That's how you do side-by-side buttons using containers inside of Elementor.